Omalicha was known all over her village in Ebonyi State. Her beauty was the kind that made people turn twice. Her skin was smooth like palm oil, her eyes bright like morning stars, and her smile carried a sweetness that melted heart. But Omalicha was more than just beauty. She was sharp, clever, and bold. She questioned everything. When the women of the village bent low before the elders, Omalicha asked, "Why must women bend, but men do not?" When the girls were told not to climb trees, she climbed the tallest one and shouted from the top, "What will the tree do to me?" People laughed. Others shook their head, but everyone agreed that Omalicha was different. Some called her wise, some called her stubborn, and others whispered that one day her mouth would put her into trouble. Hello everyone, my name is Adugo and you are watching the African Tales channel by Adugo. Please kindly click on that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you will be notified whenever I upload. Now, let's get into the story. Her grandmother, Mama Noma, was the oldest woman in the village. People respected her. She knew the old ways, the traditions, the rules that held the village together. She often pulled Omalicha aside and said, "My child, wisdom is not in questions, but in listening. There are things the eyes cannot see, but the spirits can. Respect the old ways." But Omalicha would laugh lightly. "Mama, times have changed. These rules are only to keep people in fear. What harm is there in cooking at night?" Mama Noma's face would grow hard. "I have told you before. Do not cook late in the night. Do not pound yam when the moon is high. Do not sing while the village sleeps. The spirits of the land hate such things. They will come to you." But Omalicha never listened. To her, fear was a chain and she would not be tied. She enjoyed the quiet of the night. When others slept, she cooked. Sometimes, she sang as she stirred her soup, her voice floating into the silence. The moonlight would pour through the small window, making her face shine as she hummed to herself. One particular night, the air was heavy and the crickets were strangely silent. Omalicha stood in her small kitchen, pounding cocoyam for soup. She sang in her sweet voice, the pistol rising and falling in rhythm. But as she sang, the sound of her pistol began to echo strangely, as if the walls themselves were pounding back. She stopped, frowning. The room grew colder. The fire flickered, though there was no wind. Then she heard it, a soft whisper. At first, it was faint, like a sigh. Then clearer, "Omalicha." Her heart skipped. She looked around. No one was there. She shook her head and continued pounding. But the whisper came again, louder this time, and joined by another and another, until it sounded like many voices calling her name in unison. "Omalicha, Omalicha." Her pistol slipped from her hand and hit the floor with a thud. She stepped back, her eyes wide. The fire died suddenly, plunging the room into darkness. She could still hear the voices, and now she could see them shadows moving on the walls, though no one stood there. Her breath caught in her throat. She remembered her grandmother's words, but it was too late. That night, Omalicha came face to face with the spirits of the village. Omalicha froze, her eyes wide in the dark. The shadows on the walls twisted, growing taller, forming shapes that seemed both human and not human. The whispering voices grew louder, echoing around the room as if the walls themselves were alive. Who is there?" she stammered, clutching her chest. Her voice shook. The shadows seemed to laugh, a cold, hollow sound that made her stomach twist. Suddenly, one shadow separated from the others. It rose slowly from the floor, taller than any man, moving towards her. Its eyes glowed a dull red, and though it had no mouth, Omalicha could hear it speak in her mind. "Why do you defy the rules, child of this land?" Omalicha swallowed hard. She remembered her grandmother's warning. "Do not cook late. The spirits do not forgive." But she also felt a strange courage growing inside her. I cook because I am hungry. I cook because I want to live. Why should the spirits punish me for this? The shadow paused. Its glowing eyes seemed to pierce into her soul. Everything has a time, child. Some things are not for human hands after the sun sleep. The pounding, the singing, it calls us. It awakens what should remain asleep. Omalicha's knees shook, but she stood firm. Then I will listen now. Tell me what I must do to make peace. Her voice was small, but steady. The shadows tilted its head as if surprised. Many have ignored the rules and perished, but your heart is honest. Though foolish, you must atone. Come with me to the edge of the forest before dawn, and show respect to the spirits of the land. Only then will your life be spared. Omalicha hesitated. Fear and curiosity battled in her chest. She thought of her grandmother, of the elders, and of the night she spent laughing and singing alone. Finally, she nodded. I will go. I will do as you say. The shadow receded into the darkness, leaving the room cold and silent. The voices faded, but Omalicha could still feel them watching her. She gathered her things quietly, her heart hammering. She did not sleep that night. Before dawn, she walked to the edge of the forest. The air was thick with mist, and the first light of morning barely lit the path. She could feel eyes on her from the trees, shapes moving just beyond her vision. Then a soft voice echoed through the forest. Child of the village, kneel and honor us. Omalicha dropped to her knees, trembling. She poured out a small offering, yams, kola nuts, and palm oil, just as her grandmother had taught her. She whispered apologies for her stubbornness, for questioning what should not be questioned, for breaking rules that protected the village. Slowly, the mist lifted, and the shadows seemed to bow. The forest grew silent, calm, and the first rays of sunlight touched her face. She felt a weight lift off her chest. The spirit had accepted her atonement. But Omalicha knew one thing. She had narrowly escaped a fate that could have ended her life. The night and its spirit had shown her power beyond human understanding. She would never again underestimate the old rules, no matter how much she questioned them. When Omalicha returned to her small house that morning, the village was already awake. Birds chirped, the smoke from kitchens coiled into the sky, and children ran through the dusty paths laughing. But Omalicha could feel a difference. The air seemed heavier, quieter, as if the village itself knew what had happened the night before.